Come closer into the shadows, my beloved flock, and listen with hearts prepared for terror. Brother Ignacio speaks tonight of a horror that chills the soul, a deception most cunning, aimed at the very heart of our devotion. We speak of the Holy Rosary, the blessed chain linking us to heaven, the weapon given by Our Lady herself to crush the serpent's head. But what if the rosary you hold, the beads you finger so devoutly, are not a conduit of grace, but a cleverly disguised pipeline to the abyss? Are you absolutely certain that the object in your hands is a vessel of heavenly power and not a cursed artifact, a diabolical counterfeit designed to contaminate your prayers and damn your soul? This is not a fanciful tale, my friends. The enemy, Satan, in his infinite malice and hatred for the Queen of Heaven and her favored prayer, seethes with fury at every Hail Mary uttered with faith. He cannot extinguish the power of the true rosary, but he is the master of lies, the king of imitation. And so he inspires the creation, the distribution, perhaps even the gifting, of false rosaries, objects that look holy, feel substantial, yet carry within them a hidden spiritual poison. These are the devil's rosaries, instruments crafted or influenced by darkness, slipped into the hands of the unsuspecting faithful to wreak spiritual havoc. Why speak of such dreadful things? Brother Ignacio would prefer to speak only of light and hope, but the danger is too great, the deception too widespread. Too many devout souls may be unknowingly opening doors to demonic influence, their prayers nullified, their spiritual lives choked, all because of the object they mistakenly believe is connecting them to God. I carry the heavy burden of knowledge, whispers gathered from exorcists, warnings gleaned from spiritual warfare, signs I can no longer keep hidden. Tonight, I must reveal the telltale characteristics, the chilling signs that can help you identify a potentially cursed rosary. Examine yours closely as I speak. Ignore this warning. At your eternal peril, not all that glitters is gold, and not every string of beads is a pathway to heaven. An error in discernment here could cost you everything. But why? Why would the Prince of Darkness expend such effort to mimic this particular devotion? To understand the counterfeit, we must first grasp the immense power of the genuine article. Satan hates the rosary with a perfect hatred. He despises it because it honors Mary, the woman chosen by God to crush his head, the Immaculate Conception, his eternal nemesis. Every bead, every prayer, magnifies her glory and reminds him of his humiliating defeat. He hates it because it meditates on the life, death, and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ, the very mysteries that sealed Satan's doom and redeemed mankind. The Rosary is a gospel on beads, confronting the devil with the story of his own powerlessness against divine love and sacrifice. Furthermore, the Rosary is a prayer of profound humility and childlike trust, qualities utterly alien and repulsive to the prideful spirit of Lucifer. It is a prayer of petition, acknowledging our dependence on God and the intercession of His Mother. It is a prayer of spiritual warfare. Saints and popes have called it the most powerful weapon against heresy, sin, and the direct assaults of hell. Exorcists testify that the presence of a blessed rosary, and especially its recitation, causes demons intense torment and weakens their hold. Think of it. Each Hail Mary, prayed from a faithful heart, is like a blow from Our Lady herself against the infernal legions. It calls down grace, strengthens virtue, obtains mercy, and drives back the forces of evil. Knowing this immense power, Satan's strategy becomes clear. If he cannot stop the faithful from wanting to pray the rosary, he will corrupt the instrument itself. By creating and distributing counterfeit, cursed or spiritually contaminated rosaries, he seeks to achieve several malicious goals simultaneously. Firstly, he aims to distract and discourage souls from praying the true rosary, making them associate the devotion with negative feelings or experiences caused by the false object. Secondly, he seeks to deceive the user into unknowingly engaging with an object that is not consecrated to God, perhaps even subtly aligned with dark forces, thereby nullifying the prayer's efficacy. Thirdly, and most terrifyingly, he can use a cursed or improperly handled rosary as a channel or anchor for demonic influence, allowing evil spirits easier access into the person's life or home. Finally, by sowing confusion and fear about holy objects, he hopes to erode trust in the Church's sacramentals altogether, pushing souls towards a barren, unprotected spirituality. His counterfeit is born of hatred, fueled by envy, and designed for damnation. Now pay utmost attention. Brother Ignacio will reveal the signs, the subtle and not-so-subtle clues that may indicate the rosary you possess is not a vessel of grace, but a potential tool of the enemy. Check your own rosary immediately as we go through these points. Do not dismiss this as mere superstition. The spiritual realm is real, and symbols carry power, for good or for ill. First, unusual or disturbing colors and materials. While rosaries come in many forms, be wary of those with excessively garish, unnatural, or jarring colors, especially combinations associated with occult practices, like certain shades of black, paired with specific reds or greens, depending on context. Does the material feel strangely cold, heavy, or unpleasant to the touch, lacking the warmth one might associate with a blessed object? Some materials, particularly synthetic ones, or strange composites, might be used to subtly disrupt spiritual energy or simply feel off. Trust your spiritual intuition here, that inner sense of unease. Second, hidden or aberrant symbols on the crucifix or medal. This requires close examination. Look carefully at the crucifix. Are there any distortions? Is the figure of Christ oddly proportioned or subtly grotesque? Are there any markings that, upon closer inspection, resemble known occult symbols like pentagrams, upright or inverted, stylized snakes, crescent moons in unusual contexts, specific sigils, or even seemingly innocuous geometric shapes known to be used in dark rituals? Check the centerpiece medal as well. Is the image of Mary or a saint distorted, unfriendly, or replaced with something ambiguous? Satan is the master of disguise. Symbols might be cleverly integrated into the design, appearing as mere ornamentation to the undiscerning eye. Be especially wary of rosaries with non-standard symbols you don't recognize from legitimate Catholic tradition. Third, persistent, negative feelings when handling or praying. When you pick up this specific rosary, how does your soul react? Do you feel peace, devotion, a connection to God? Or do you feel an inexplicable sense of anxiety, dread, heaviness, spiritual coldness, or even outright repulsion? Does holding it make you feel inexplicably angry, agitated, or depressed? Does the thought of praying with it suddenly feel burdensome or distasteful? While fleeting distractions are normal, a consistent negative spiritual or emotional reaction specifically tied to this rosary is a significant red flag. Your soul, created for God, may be recoiling from an unholy presence or influence attached to the object. Fourth, suspicious origins or acquisition. Where did this rosary come from? Was it a gift from someone you know practices questionable spirituality or dabbles in the occult? Was it given by a stranger under unusual circumstances? Did you find it in a strange place, perhaps near a location associated with negative events or energies. Did you purchase it from a non-religious store, an antique shop known for carrying occult items, or online from an unknown source? While God can bring good out of any situation, rosaries obtained through dubious channels warrant extreme caution and discernment. Their history may be tainted, or they may have been intentionally cursed or compromised before reaching you. Be particularly careful with antique rosaries unless you are certain of their provenance and have them blessed. Fifth, a pattern of misfortune, illness, or oppression following its arrival. This is highly subjective, but must be considered prayerfully. Did a noticeable downturn in your family's peace, health, finances, or spiritual well-being begin shortly after this specific rosary entered your home or possession? Did nightmares increase? Did unexplained conflicts erupt? Did a general feeling of oppression descend? While we must not attribute every difficulty to cursed objects, a clear temporal correlation, especially if other signs are present, should not be ignored. The enemy can use cursed objects as focal points to inflict various forms of vexation or oppression. Sixth, consistent difficulty or inability to pray with it. When you attempt to pray the rosary using this particular set of beads, do you find your mind becomes unusually scattered, filled with intrusive or blasphemous thoughts? Do you experience overwhelming drowsiness, sudden anger, inexplicable irritation, or a profound inability to focus on the mysteries or the prayers? While prayer always involves some struggle, if these negative experiences are significantly more intense or qualitatively different only when using this specific rosary, it strongly suggests demonic interference connected to the object itself, actively trying to block your prayer. Seventh, and critically important, lack of proper priestly blessing. Is the rosary blessed? Do you know for a fact that it was blessed by a Catholic priest or deacon using the approved rite? An unblessed rosary, while not inherently evil, lacks the specific sacramental protection and power conferred by the Church's blessing. Relying on an unblessed rosary for spiritual warfare is like going into battle with an unloaded weapon. If you are uncertain about its blessing status, you must assume it is unblessed, which makes it more susceptible to negative influences if other warning signs are present. Take these 7 signs seriously. Examine your rosaries now with prayerful discernment. Now, let us confront the truly terrifying reality. What actually happens if you unknowingly possess, use, or even simply keep a devil's rosary, a cursed or contaminated object within your home? The consequences can range from subtle spiritual malaise to outright demonic infestation. Do not fool yourselves into thinking this is mere medieval fantasy. The spiritual world is intensely real, and cursed objects can act as potent spiritual toxins or magnets for evil. Firstly, such an object can serve as an invitation or beacon for demonic spirits. By possessing an item that is either subtly dedicated to darkness through hidden symbols, cursed by malicious intent, or simply lacking God's blessing while being treated as holy, you inadvertently create an open door, a point of entry or attraction for evil entities into your environment and your life. They are drawn to such spiritual compromises, like flies to decay. Secondly, a cursed rosary can actively block your prayers and obstruct the flow of grace. How can prayers ascend to the throne of the Almighty when offered through a contaminated channel? The very instrument intended to connect you to heaven becomes a source of spiritual static, distortion, or even outright blockage. The graces you seek through the rosary, peace, protection, virtue, conversion, may be hindered or entirely nullified because the vessel is compromised. You might pray fervently, but feel spiritually barren, wondering why heaven seems silent, never suspecting the tool in your hands is the culprit. Thirdly, its presence can foster spiritual dryness, oppression, and despair. Living in proximity to a spiritually negative object can slowly drain your spiritual vitality. You might experience persistent feelings of heaviness, inexplicable sadness, a loss of devotion, increased temptations towards despair or doubt, and a general sense of spiritual oppression weighing down your soul and darkening your home's atmosphere. This spiritual toxicity can poison your inner life, making prayer feel burdensome and God seem distant. Fourthly, the influence can manifest in more tangible ways, such as increased nightmares, anxiety, and unexplained physical ailments. The demonic realm often attacks through fear and affliction. Persistent, disturbing nightmares centered around the rosary or religious themes, heightened anxiety or panic attacks within the home, strange noises, or even recurring physical maladies that doctors cannot easily explain could potentially be linked to the negative spiritual energy emanating from or attracted by a cursed object. The connection may not always be obvious, but the possibility is real. Fifthly, a devil's rosary can act as an amplifier for temptation. Instead of strengthening you against sin, it might subtly work in reverse, magnifying impure thoughts, stirring up anger or resentment, feeding pride, or making it harder to resist specific habitual sins. The enemy uses every tool at his disposal, and a compromised religious object can become a foothold from which he launches more intense spiritual assaults. Do not underestimate this danger. You are potentially holding an enemy device while believing it's a shield. This is not about inducing paranoia, but about fostering healthy spiritual vigilance. The enemy is real, his tactics are insidious, and compromised sacramentals are one of his documented weapons. You are playing with infernal fire if you ignore these warnings. But fear not entirely, for where darkness encroaches, God provides a remedy. If, after careful examination and prayerful discernment, you suspect the rosary you possess carries any of the ominous signs we have discussed, you must act decisively and correctly to rid yourself of this spiritual danger and protect your soul. Here is the plan Brother Ignacio urges you to follow. First, final prayerful inspection. Take the suspect rosary again. Hold it. Perhaps sprinkle it lightly with holy water if you have some, and pray sincerely for discernment. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal its true nature. Pay close attention to your inner feelings, peace or disturbance. Trust your sanctified intuition. If any doubt remains, err on the side of extreme caution and treat the object as potentially harmful. Do not keep something spiritually ambiguous in your sacred space. Second, proper disposal. Do not simply throw it away. This is critical. Simply tossing a potentially cursed or negatively influenced object into the trash is spiritually irresponsible and dangerous. You risk releasing whatever negative energy or entity is attached to it into the world, potentially harming others. Furthermore, it shows disrespect for the form of a sacred object, even if compromised. The proper methods aim to respectfully return the material to the elements while neutralizing its spiritual contamination. The recommended traditional methods are 1. Burning. If the material permits, respectfully burn the rosary, perhaps while praying prayers of deliverance, like the St. Michael prayer. The fire purifies. Afterwards, bury the ashes. 2. Burial. Bury the rosary deep in the ground, preferably in a place that will not be disturbed. Some traditions recommend sprinkling blessed salt in the hole before and after placing the rosary, as salt is a symbol of purification and preservation against corruption. 3. Entrusting to a priest. If you are deeply uncomfortable handling it, you can take the suspect rosary to a knowledgeable and understanding priest, explain your concerns, and ask him to dispose of it properly. Third, thorough spiritual cleansing. After disposing of the suspect object, cleanse yourself and your home. Make a good, thorough confession, specifically mentioning your concern about the potentially cursed object and seeking absolution. Receive Holy Communion worthily. Sprinkle your home with blessed holy water, paying special attention to the area where the rosary was kept, praying for God's protection. Fourth, acquire and bless a true rosary. Purchase a simple, traditional rosary from a reputable Catholic source, like your parish gift shop or a trusted monastery. Avoid overly strange or potentially suspect designs. Then, most importantly, take it to a priest and have it specifically blessed using the Church's official prayers. An unblessed rosary lacks full sacramental power. Fifth, intensify your prayer life, especially the rosary. Having removed the potential obstacle, rededicate yourself to praying the rosary devoutly with your new, properly blessed beads. Ask Our Lady for her powerful protection against all deception and evil. Let your renewed devotion be a sign of victory over the enemy's attempted infiltration. Remain eternally vigilant. The enemy never sleeps. Scrutinize all religious articles, especially those from unknown sources. Trust the wisdom and guidance of the Church, and please, I implore you, share this video immediately. Warn your friends, your family, your parish community. You could be saving them from a hidden, insidious spiritual trap set by the devil himself. Act now, and prepare yourselves, for next time, Brother Ignacio will investigate the ancient claim about a specific psalm that supposedly heals any illness. Is it truth or a dangerous spiritual myth? The answer will astound you. Until then, may Our Lady protect you under her mantle. God bless.